Alrighty, hi everyone. I'm James Kelly with OETC, and welcome to Student Voice and Choice, More Than Just Buzzwords, presented by Joe Marquez, the Director of Academic Involvement at CUE. If you have any questions or want to interact during the talk, please put your thoughts and questions into the chat on the right-hand side, and we'll get to them maybe at the end, maybe throughout the presentation. And with that, Joe, the floor is all yours.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Hopefully, you are ready for some interaction today, because you are going to be placed in the student seats to see how students' choice with a variety of different tools, and then being able to showcase student voice in a variety of different ways can really impact and elevate your teachers to a different level in the classroom. And a lot of these activities are a very low lift. And also, a lot of these might be some tools that your teachers are currently using, or maybe some of them they've never heard of, that can really amplify what they're doing. And we're going to be working off of a slide deck. So let me go ahead and paste the link to the slide deck right here in our chat. Also, every activity we do has its own URL. So I'm going to also post those in the chat also, but they're also hyperlinked on the document also. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen so everybody can see it. All right, so here we go. So the reason I added the more than just buzzwords is because you hear a lot of people going, oh, student voice and choice this, Flipgrid, voice and choice. But what does that truly mean? What that truly means is not only giving students a choice in the way that they showcase their talents and skills, but also having them build capacity to use these tools. And what I mean by that is, I see a lot of teachers go to conferences and they see tools like Flipgrid or Nearpod or this or that. And they go, oh, I'm going to use these in my class. This looks fantastic. And they go off and they try to use Flipgrid for the first time. And all the kids are so shy, they don't want to record anything. And that's because you haven't built that capacity yet. So I'm going to show you some tools that can help build up the capacity to allow students to showcase who they are and what they do in multiple ways. And that's the key here. Right? Because in Flipgrid, they get one choice. Hey, I'm going to record my face. But actually, that's not true. There's multiple ways you can showcase yourself in Flipgrid. But giving students the option to use their voice or use a video or use pictures or use text, that's what we're looking at here today. And a little bit about me. So I am Joe Marquez, Director of Academic Innovation for an organization here in California called CUE, which is a nonprofit organization helping teachers to amplify their technology skills for the betterment of their students. So I enjoy the organization, and it's an organization that helped me in my first few years as an 8th grade science educator. So I enjoy coming back to the organization that lifted my spirits as well. And on this page right here, you have access to my contact information, but let me go ahead and post that into the chat, because I want you to know that I have a philosophy that any PD that I give or any presentation that I provide, it also comes with lifetime tech support. So if you have any questions after this session, or you want to email me and ask me some questions, or you want to do a follow-up like Zoom one-on-one to ask some questions, I am all for that. I'm all about, showcasing things, but also the follow-up is key for me as well. So there is my email that you can contact me. Just say, hey, I saw you at the conference, and we wanted to get a hold of you. And when we are utilizing tools, we need to look at it through not only the teacher lens, but the student lens as well. And yes, also the IT lens, right? We want to make sure that all of these tools abide by student privacy laws, and making sure that all of student data is protected as well. So we need to make sure that all of these are covered. But as the teacher, as the instructor, your teachers need to be able to inspect student knowledge right now, not later, not after the class is over and you go over a worksheet, not after the class leaves and then you go over homework over the weekend and then come back and give a quiz on Monday. It needs to happen now. That feedback cycle needs to be immediate. And so not only do you need to inspect student knowledge during the class, but be able to redirect them with multiple resources to get back on track. If they didn't quite get it, how can you get them back on track? Redirect them towards the correct path of knowledge, and then give them time to make those corrections during class. That's very important. So whenever you're selecting tools for your staff, you need to look at it through the lens of inspect, redirect, make correct. Do these tools allow me to allow this cadence, this feedback cycle to be heightened within my classroom? Because if it doesn't, we shouldn't possibly be using it. And then finally, the students need to look at, how am I collecting my information? How when I'm done with this assignment, do I get a piece of it? Can I download the file? Can I take a screenshot of it? How do I collect what I had done or collect what the class had done? And then always reflecting on those pieces. How do you reflect on what you just learned? And then finally giving a place that you can recollect all this information, whether it's a Google Drive, an e-binder in Google Sites, or a student portfolio using the Bulb app. All these are different ways that you can get students involved. And this all goes back to personalized learning, giving students a voice in how they learn, how they showcase what they've learned, the resources that they're utilizing to learn, and then how they demonstrate that learning. So we're going to be utilizing a couple of these tools today. We're going to be utilizing Jamboard. We're going to be utilizing Google Slides. We're going to be utilizing Flipgrid. We're going to be utilizing a Google Slide thing that I call a slide snap as scaffolding to showcase information, and all of these different tools. On this screen, when you are on this document, each of these images is hyperlinked to a Google Chrome extension. Google Chrome extensions extend the capability of your Chrome browser. These are all educational, useful extensions. My school here in Clovis, California, they actually went through and vetted them so it doesn't pull student information or it doesn't violate any student privacy. But I always recommend that your school do due diligence when looking at these extensions as well to make sure they pass muster for your staff also. But I want to show you what we can do with these tools. Because as a teacher, whether you are a teacher of younger students in K-3, a teacher of more advanced students in fourth grade to sixth grade, or a secondary teacher, reading for understanding is always a very important but very difficult thing to do, not only in a face-to-face, but especially at a distance, right? So we have to be able to find ways to give students like a website to go to, but still have them interact with that website and show you how they pulled information off of that website. So I'm going to show you a routine that I call annotating the web. And again, we're going to be utilizing these tools right here. This one is called Web Paint. This one is called Super Simple Highlighter. This one is called Note Anywhere. And then this one right here is called Awesome Screenshot. So these are the 4 that we're going to be utilizing for this activity. Now, I'm going to go to a website that I know doesn't have lots of ads, which is called NASA.gov, one of my favorite places to go. I would always send my students here for our weekly current event articles that we would read in the classroom. Traditionally, what I would do is I would go to the website and I would print it out for them. I'd turn it into a PDF. I'd print it out for them. I would hand it out and I would ask them to annotate the article. And then we would go and think, pair, share with our neighbors and talk about the article. But again, how do you know the students are actually doing what you're asking them to do? So this routine will allow that to happen. So let me show you. I'm going to open up this article right here. And it says, 60 years ago, Alan Shepard becomes the first American in space. Not the first human being. That was Yuri Gagarin from the USSR at the time. But let's say we want our students to highlight. Notice I have already installed on my browser Super Simple Highlighter. And so I always give my students a cadence how they highlight. Like yellow means this is important information. Red means this is information I don't understand. Green means this information we learned in class and I'm good to go. So I always have a highlighting cadence that my students have learned about. And it just transfers over. Instead of using those pens, we're now using Super Simple Highlighter. So let me show you. All the students do is highlight a section and right click on it. Notice, because you installed the Super Simple Highlighter extension, you have that option here to go. So let's say that this is important information. I'm going to highlight it yellow. There it is. let's say this right here is something that I didn't understand. So I'm going to highlight it red. And then down here, this is something we talked about in class. So I'm going to highlight this green. I'm good to go with this information. And so you just highlight all the way down. So you're literally highlighting the internet. And the great thing is it stays here and it follows your Google account. So if your students are doing this on your school Google account on a school issued Chromebook, if they go home and log into their school Google account and go back to the same article, their highlights will still be there. But watch, here's something great. Let's say now you want to have them collate all of the highlights because you're going to have a class discussion. All I do is click on the extension up here at the top, and it will bring up every highlight. When I left the highlight, the ability to copy the highlight and send it to a Google Doc. I mean, this is an incredibly amazing tool for collating information off of the internet. And I will tell you, I do this in my own personal capacity as well. Whenever I'm reading an article online, I always highlight using this tool because when I go back to it, I'll remember some of the most important points. So that is using the highlight tool, super simple highlighter. Next, if we want our students to utilize digital inking using their styluses, if you have a touch screen or a tablet that utilizes touch, that's where I love using WebPaint. WebPaint gives you all of these amazing tools. You can change the color as well. All of these amazing tools that you can interact with on the website. So you can say, okay, I want you to circle the vocabulary words that we've learned about in class. So let's say they circle astronauts. So they can highlight it right there. Let's say they circle lunar because we talked about the moon. They circle that. Let's say they underline things or the verb. You can have them do anything. You can have them, if you're an avid school, you can have them number the paragraphs. So when you're talking about paragraph 2, you know exactly where to go. But here's the awesome thing about WebPaint. Those annotations follow the website. They're not static. They follow the website. And if I wanted to turn off the annotations, I just close the tool. And if I click on the tool again, those annotations come right back. So again, they don't leave the web page unless you hit clear right here. Okay, so it's pretty cool. If your students are done at that point, then they can come over here and click this camera again and take a screenshot of what they had just learned. And then they can crop it to make it an easier image to send to the teacher. And there you go. And you just hit finish and download. And now they have that screenshot ready to share. Now, how would they share? You can share as a question on an LMS. You can have you share at a checkpoint during your lesson, during class. So you can definitely do all of these things with that WebPaint. If you want a little bit more advanced tool to take a web screenshot, I love Awesome Screenshot. Awesome Screenshot allows you to capture a portion of the screen, the entire page all the way to the bottom without scrolling, or just a selected area. So if you're looking for a more robust screen capture tool, Awesome Screenshot's the way to go. You can even do quick audio recordings off of this. Like I'm going to show you screen Castify here in a little bit. But if you just wanted to do a quick 15 or 20-second video recording of what you were doing, they can record using Awesome Screenshot as well. So that's one of my favorite tools to use. Now, I was telling you earlier that as a teacher, inspect, redirect, make, correct. And if your students are doing this on their screen, how are you supposed to inspect it? I'm glad you asked that question. Now, that's where the screenshot comes into play. You do something called a snap. And so basically what I tell my students is whenever I say, okay, let's take a snap, that means you're going to take a screenshot, a snapshot of whatever you're doing. I don't care where you're at during this learning. If they're done, cool. If they're not done, I just want to know where you're at this moment. And so the students take a screenshot, again, with the embedded screenshot tool from the highlighter or the web paint here, or by the more robust, awesome screenshot. But where do they put it from at that point? Again, you can put it in a Google Doc or in a Google Classroom, or they can email it to you, whatever. But I love using something that I call a slide snap. A slide snap is a scaffolded way of having students create learning artifacts. Learning artifacts are things that created by students during the course of learning. That's the key to this right here. A learning artifact is made or created by students during the course of learning to show what they have learned. It's not done after. It's not an after learning activity. It's in the moment. And so all I do is, after I've downloaded that screenshot, I drag it or click it and I bring it on here to this slide snap. Right there. And I just place it right there where it says place image. And then I always, whenever students bring in a multimedia object, whether it's a video or a image, they have to explain why they brought it in and what they learned from it. They have to always provide an answer to their claim. And I always tell them, when you bring an image in, when you bring a video in, when you bring any kind of artifact in, you have to tell me why you did that. You can't just assume I know. And so that's where they would place the text right here for that student. Another thing I have them do is always incorporate some kind of audio or video media. Again, some of the best ways to do it are through extensions. And one of my favorite extensions to use is Castify. Now, I want everybody to be aware. I'm hoping I fixed a microphone issue that I had from my previous session this morning. But if for some reason my microphone goes out, please just type in the chat, Joe, we can't hear you. It happened again. And I'll go in and go in and fix it again. But I think I fixed the issue. So what I would do is I would have my students go back to the webpage and explain what they know at this point. So they go to this webpage, they use Castify right here. It's gonna open up. Here we go. And I'm gonna choose a different microphone so that it doesn't co-op. Perfect. And I'm going to just record my desktop. If you want them to also use their camera, they can. But again, if that is a roadblock, meaning students are shy, like, I can record my screen, but I don't want to record my face, it's not a deal breaker, right? So don't have them record their face if they're shy. We don't want to add roadblocks to this knowledge base that we're trying to gain. And so all we do is we click record. It's going to record this screen. It's going to ask what screen. Well, I have two screens, so of course it's going to ask which screen. But your students probably only have one screen, and this works perfect on Chromebooks, on PCs, on Macs. It's basically platform agnostic. I don't know if it works on iPads, but it works on basically everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and click share, and here we go. Hopefully my audio is not going out on your end. So here we go, it's recording right now. And so basically what I'm doing is I'm recording this screen, and it gives you annotation tools along the way. So I can say, okay, Mr. Marquez, you asked us to read this article here. I thought it was really useful. This part of the article I really understood. These images really helped me understand about the first American going into space, so on and so forth. So you're doing all of this stuff right on the camera. And when you are done, all you do is just hit stop, and it automatically uploads your video to not only their Castify account, but look, it automatically uploads to their Google Drive. You don't have to have them do it. It automatically does that for them. And they're going to click copy shareable link, not to use the link. And I need to make this clear. I clicked copy shareable link because what that does is it turns the video into a video that anybody can view. That's key. We want to make sure that anybody can view. So now what do? Now all we do is we have students, we go insert, video, from my drive that is most recent. And here it is. Here's the video that I know this is the one that it is because it says May 6th. This is my most recent. I hit select. And there we go. I just make it a little bit smaller. And I place it right here in the section where the video is. And basically they would turn this into you and you would be able to check, inspect their knowledge at that point. Again, this is great for distance learning. It's also great for hybrid learning, but it's also fantastic for a face-to-face classroom as well. And it answers the side of the student portion of the collection piece. How are they collecting their knowledge? How are they creating a moment in time that they remember why they learned something? This slide snap allows you to do it. So if you want this, at the end of today's session, I'm going to give you have access to this slide snap template, and you can just make a copy of it and utilize it in your classroom. And the last thing I have my students do is I put in this Emoji Bank to allow my students to drag over how they feel about that assignment at the moment, right? Because let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to open up a slide snap document here. And what this would be, this is a whole class slide snap document. So all of the students would be working on this at the same time. All of my students had a student number. Like student is student 1, student 2, student 3, and that was most likely based off of my role sheet on how I did that. So students would know instinctively which slide to go to. So student number 2 would go to slide number 2, and student number 3 would go to slide number 3, all of those things. But the key part of this is, as a teacher, I would select the grid view. And look, this is an actual one that students had done, and I can see the emoji brought over. And so I can really quickly identify which students are good to go and which students are frustrated or angry or unsure, right? Here's a question. So I know I should go over to Alex here and go, hey, Alex, I noticed you put a question emoji on your slide snap. Can you explain to me what questions you still have? It allows you to identify the students who need your help right away versus students who can do more of independent work. And so this allows you to do a quick check for understanding utilizing Google Slides, which everybody has access to, and we know privacy is kept under wraps there. And key to this is we're staying within the Google ecosystem, right? And so teachers just utilizing tools they already use, but in a different way. And so that's what this slide snap here is. Now, before I move on, if you have a question that you're wanting to ask, please feel free. You can wait till the end. I always leave about 10 minutes to answer questions at the end. But if you have a question right now about either the annotating the web activity and then the transition from that activity to a slide snap for a learning artifact, please ask it in the chat so I can be able to answer that as we go. I want you to know that this is your session, so feel free to stop me at any moment in the chat and say, hey, can you go over that again? Can you show that again? I just really want to make sure you understand kind of the mindset that I had in creating these routines. And that's exactly what these are, because a slide snap routine is something that I utilized weekly in my classroom, if not daily in my classroom. And the students, yeah, they stumbled over it the first few times, but as soon as they understood what was being asked of them, and as soon as they understood, like, this is our own little class social media platform, oh, that's what this is. So I'm taking a picture of what I'm working on, like I would take a picture using my phone outside of class. And I'm writing about the picture just like I would write a post on social media. Oh, I understand now. And so students start getting into this social media mindset while they're learning. It really creates this dynamic in the classroom that's sensational. So again, this is a routine that I would constantly do. And again, yes, there were some stumbling blocks at the beginning, but I think, towards the 4th and 5th time that we did this, kids got it. And the rest of the year was smooth sailing. Whenever I said, okay, let's do a snap, I didn't have to explain anything else. They brought in their image, they brought in their text, they brought in their video, and we were good to go. We were rocking and rolling. It was great. Again, using tools you already have access to and free, $0, 0 cents, just using the tools we already use on a daily basis. So again, if you have any questions, any comments, anything at all, please feel free to ask it in the chat. And you yourself can go in here and view this. Also, you have access to this link. Feel free to click on it. It says, let's try it. Go check on it. Go check it out and see what it looks like. It's pretty neat. And yes, I'm going to answer a question that I know people already have. Do students get bored with this? Of course they do. Doing the same thing over and over and over again, they get bored with it. They get good at it, but yeah, they can get bored with it. So what I do is I take the same exact routine, and I change it up a little bit, right? And so I have a YouTube template. So in the middle of any activity, we'll create a class YouTube channel using Google Slides. And whereas the screenshot is the star of the show in a slide snap, in our YouTube video, YouTube page, guess what the star of the show is here? The video. Right? We would still have them do the same thing. Go to the article, use Castify, and then upload that video right here. There's still a place to add text here as well. And then there's one extra little place down here on this template that a teacher can utilize for a different fashion if they want. And then, of course, they can add a title for their video here as well. And when you look at this in grid view, when the entire class is doing it, it truly does look like a YouTube channel. So it's pretty neat when your students do it. And notice I have little images here of text of exactly what I want my students to do. So there's no question about how do I add my video? How do I add this? How do I do this? How do I do that? It's all embedded here with these instructions. So they can easily do it. Now, I wish, right? I mean, like, yes, we have Castify, right? Cool. I wish, though, there was a place where it says insert video, and then there's video, and it says webcam. Like, they can do a quick recording right off of Google Slides. Well, unfortunately, there is not that feature in the basic version of Google Slides. But again, I love my Chrome extensions. And there is a Chrome extension here called video slides to video. And let me actually paste that in our chat so you can have access to it. Record to slides is the title. So I'm going to copy this and paste it in our chat. There you go. And so if you want your students to do a quick on-the-fly explanation, debrief of what they're currently learning or currently understand or any current questions they have, when you install that extension, it gives you a brand new button right here. You see right here, a brand new button that students can select. So all the students do is they click this camera right here. Again, I want to make sure that I'm using a different microphone when I hit record so that I don't go off on yours. There we go. It also allows you to select the camera that you want to use. There we go. And then all you have to do is click record right there. And it looks like it happened again. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. I'm recording. And then all you do is hit OK, and there we go. Now, can you hear me in the chat? Can you hear me? Because it looks like, there we go. It looks like my microphone was paused for a second, but we're working again. And so by using that slide recorder, all I did is record, and it automatically brought in the video. Your students didn't have to go insert video. Where's my video? How do I do that? Where do I go? It automatically brings the video in for your students. So, I mean, this is something like the person who made this is an educator out of New York, right? In his spare time, he made this little extension. You would imagine a giant company like Google would be able to be like, oh, that guy can do it. Let's make our own, right? But you know what? Sometimes we have to rely on the amazingness of other educators, and that's what I do here. So it's a really fun way to incorporate video without any heavy lift from anything else. And again, I pasted the link in there. That is called Record to Slide right there. And lastly, again, I'm going to go through my templates here. You know, if they get bored with the slide snap, and they want to do something and they get bored with the YouTube one, I made one called the Daily Prophet. It looks just like the Harry Potter Daily Prophet newspaper that they have, and they would bring in their video, and then they would bring in their text here as well. So again, kind of same routine, but you mix the flavor up a little bit so that your students don't get bored, right? Even though it's the same kind of routine, it's different enough to where they don't get tired of it as long as you rotate through these going through. Now, students love TikTok right now. And I found a way to allow students to do a quick 1-minute video with a TikTok template. Now, here's the thing, and I'm not going to show you how to do this because it does take a while. Sometimes I do a whole training on how to do this for teachers, but basically, you can't put a video as a background in your Google Slides. It won't let you do it. But you can in your screen Castify, if you recorded a quick video, it allows you to download the video as a GIF, which is just the image that's moving, right? The video part, no audio, and then the audio as well. You split them up, right? You split them up. You take the audio, have it as its own file. You take the image video as its own file GIF, and look what you can do. Well, all you do is you put the GIF as your background, and then you bring in the audio as a button, and then underneath the audio playback, you want it to start automatically. So what's going to happen is as soon as this slide appears, the audio will start at the same time as the video, and they will sync up. So you now have a TikTok-esque activity that you can do again right out of Google Slides. You know, and to me, I'm not a huge TikTok user. My wife loves to kind of peruse TikTok as she's going to bed, but students absolutely love it. So you can imagine if you would tell your students, okay, I want you to do a lab conclusion, but this time you're going to do it in the style of a TikTok. So you have to do it within 1 minute. Oh man, they're going to get super, super excited. So this is, again, just another way to allow students to express their voice in the same modality that they use outside the classroom, inside the classroom. Because I don't know about you, but I would feel very strange sending home a kind of permission slip saying, hey, parents, can you let your students have an account on TikTok so we can use it in our science class? You know, maybe some of the parents will be like, yeah, they already have TikTok. It's good to go. But a lot of them be like, oh, we're not allowing our students on social media just yet. Right? You don't want to fight that fight. This is a way to have a social media-esque experience, but utilizing tools that are safe and controlled. If you do want to see how I made this, the step-by-step tutorial, there's a video right here on this slide, on slide 17, that is from my YouTube channel. and it gives you a step-by-step process of how to do this. All right, so now is time for our interactive portions. Now, I would normally have you have gone through the entire routine of annotating an article online, of adding to our annotation on the web, but that is part of my a 3-hour workshop that I do. And because we don't have 3 hours, I didn't want to spend too much time giving you time to do that. But again, please feel free to reach out to me at any time after this session is over, and I can go through everything with you in a one-on-one fashion if that's what you would like. But I want to move on outside of Google Slides. So I want us to do something called Sketch and Tell. So my buddy, John Carippo, wrote a book called The Edge of Protocols Field Guide. And it's basically a whole bunch of education activities that can be used and manipulated to meet the needs of any grade level and any topic. And one of the activities he created was called Sketch and Tell. So sketch something you know or something you learned or something you think, and then type or tell what that is. So sketch it and then tell it. So I want us to participate in this right now. So you can either click on the link right here. If you're on the slide deck, you can go to slide 19 and click on this activity. Or I'm going to place it in the chat and you can click on it there. There you go. And so once you click on it, it should take you to our activity. And what you're going to do is you're going to claim a frame. Now, again, in my classroom, my students would already have their classroom number. So, you know, number 1 would go to number 1, number 2 would go to number 2. But in sessions like this, it can get all cattywampus. So all you have to do, find a frame and then click where it says name and type your name there. So claim your frame. I'm going to give you some time to do that before I give you the activity. All right, we got the anonymous anteater right here on number 12, and the number 13 is here. Good, we got Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. Kathy, thank you so much for joining. All right, and so once you're in, again, you're going to claim your frame. Here's your activity. Here's your activity, and this is always fun because we always think we know what it looks like, but then you're asked to draw, and you're like, oh, really, how does it work? So I would like you, in the sketch side, you're going to use the pen. That's what this little thing is, the pen. Use whatever color you want. You're going to draw me a bicycle. A bicycle. And then you're going to tell me how a bicycle works. That's basically what you're going to do. So on the sketch side, you're going to grab the pen and you're going to draw me a bicycle. And then under the tell side, you're going to type how a bicycle works. So I want to give you, let's say, 4 minutes to go ahead and start this activity. And again, if you are in the activity, you're in the session, and you want to do this again, you can do it right now by clicking on the link at the bottom. It will take you into our Jamboard activity, and then you can begin drawing your bicycle. I always love to use the frame viewer up at the top because I can see who is working on what slide in real time. I can then click on that slide to view it happening. Notice, I see the drawings happening in real time. It's not like after you hit submit, not when you're done, not when you publish it. I see it all happening in real time. And that's key because as the teacher, I'm inspecting my students' work and I'm preparing if I need to redirect them towards a better way of doing it. That's key, right? Inspect, redirect, make correct. All right, Lisa, very nice. Bicycle. Another good bicycle right here. Very nice. And then again, when you're done with the bicycle, you're going to click on the little pointer tool, the arrow, and then you're going to go over and you're going to double click on the little post-it note, and you're going to type your tell right there. So again, after you're done with your bicycle, you're going to double click. You're going to make sure you have your pointer selected. Double click on your post-it note, and then tell me how bicycle works. Oh, I love this one because it's absolutely true, Lisa. Right? Bikes are amazing tools that are easier to use than to draw. Yeah, absolutely. I love doing this activity with my students because it goes to show them you may know how to do something, but do you know how it works? Right? You may have a portion of knowledge. Do you have the whole picture? No pun intended. That's the idea of this activity, is to show, like, you've probably been riding a bike your entire life. Do you really know how the chain connects to the wheels, and the wheel and the chain connects to the pedals, and the pedals don't get in the way of the stressor bar or whatever that's called, the tension bar? I mean, it's, something we don't really do too much. Or another one that I do with my students is a zipper. Draw me how a zipper works, right? How do those teeth connect with one another, and how do they unhook and rehook? That's another fun one to do. Excellent. And so you notice not a huge lift on what, oh, that is a very good picture right here. Good job, Steve. Got to call you out. That's a great job right there, right? So notice I had a template. I pushed it out to my kids. This is something you need to share with your teachers, okay? Because there is an option here that says clear the frame, but that will delete everything. Right? So if your teachers want to continue to use this activity and they want to clear student work, if they hit clear frame, it clears the entire page right there. You do not want to do that. But what if you want to reuse this with another class? Let's say that you're a secondary teacher and you did this for period 1. You want to reuse it for period 2. You can do the same routine for a Google slide as well. Revision history. Let me show you. Revision history as a template. So I click on revision history. I'm going to title this newest version, because you can title all revisions. I'm going to title this newest version ACPE. There we go. So if I ever want to go back to this, I can see all of your work. But guess what? If I click on the version I call reset template and I restore this version, it'll bring it back to its beginning state. And I don't have to make another copy in my Google Drive. I don't have to make a copy and call it period 1. I don't have to make one called master template. I have it all here. It's all done. It's all restored and ready to use for my next period. And if I ever want to come back and relive these amazing memories of you amazing individuals here at the ACPE conference, all I have to do is go to revision history and click on ACPE, and I can see it again. A great way to create a wipe screen in Google Slides, in Google Jamboard. It's a wipe screen, but it keeps your template. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so, and in fact, that is my next YouTube video I'm going to make, a wipe screen in Jamboard utilizing this quick little hack. So pretty cool, pretty cool. But that's Jamboard. Okay, Jamboard. Again, why did I show you Jamboard? Because it's a great tool that is already within your Google ecosystem. It falls underneath all student privacy that you have underneath your Google domain. It's a great, great tool. Now, people ask me all the time, when would you use a Jamboard over a Google slide deck, right? When digital inking is the #1 key. When you want your students to draw something, then you're going to use Jamboard. Okay. When multimedia like video and audio are key components of what you're doing, then that's when you want to utilize Google Slides. That's how I tell teachers to use the two. One limitation to Google Jamboard is you're only allowed 20 frames. So if you have over 20 students, it can get a little bit confusing, right? You have to split the screen and stuff like that. So yeah, there's pros and cons to both. But the idea here is you're giving students multiple ways to showcase their knowledge. On a Google slide, using video, using audio, using images. That's one way to showcase choice and voice. In Google Jamboard, digital inking, showcasing their drawing skill, showcasing this, showcasing that. That's another way to give students voice and choice. That's what we're trying to get you to understand here is the multiple ways students can express their knowledge instead of just one way, right? That is the key component to this. So that is Jamboard. Jamboard. All right. So I tried to stay within the Google ecosystem as long as possible. And that's because I have lots of IT friends that, whenever a new tool is asked to be used or unblocked or privacy checks, it's like, oh, can't you use something in Google? Does Google do that? Does Google have something, right? Because that's all cool, right? And so I try to stay within the Google ecosystem for as long as possible whenever I'm talking to teachers. But there's just some tools out there that are too cool not to show. So I want to show you this one because it allows for you to do unlimited whiteboarding with your students with unlimited frames, and it takes zero setup. And it's called Whiteboard.fi. I'm going to show you how easy this is to use. There's no sign-in required, and there's no data being pulled from students in this free version. And Whiteboard.fi was actually purchased back in, I believe it was February of last year, maybe even a little bit farther back. It was purchased by Kahoot. And we all know Kahoot, right? That's been around for a long while. It was purchased by Kahoot, so it was pretty cool. So let me show you how easy it is. No login, no register, just new class. Boom. I'm going to call this ACPE Marquez. Done. I'm going to hit create new class. You can enable a waiting room as well if you wanted to. Yes, Kathy, I agree. Kahoot is out there acquiring a lot of things, which is strange to me because for the first 5 years of Kahoot, there was no payment for anything, right? They just recently, a year or two ago came out with their free version and their upgrade pay version, right? So I can't imagine too many people purchasing it if the free version is so robust, but I don't know. I'm not in that industry, I guess. So I'm going to copy this to the clipboard and I'm going to paste it here in the chat. There we go. So if you would please join, I want you to see how, and just join with your first name, or first name, last initial is what I normally tell my students in case there's two people with the same name. But click on it and see how easy it is to join this activity without needing any login credentials or any setup or anything at all. Right, so we have Deanne here, we have Kathy here, we have Brand here, we have Steve here, Lisa's in here, Fly on the Wall is here. Welcome, Fly. So it's an easy way to create whiteboards. Now watch this. I, as the teacher, can prompt a question right here. And I can push this to all of you as your background. So I can just say on the fly, okay, what's 2 + 2? And then you would answer. So go ahead, answer. What is 2 + 2? 4, good. Deanne's in. Deanne's got 4 right there. Kathy's got 4. She tried to turn the question mark into a 4. Steve's here with a 4. Notice how quickly myself as the instructor can inspect student work right now. And I didn't have to set up a Jamboard. I didn't have to go on like Nearpod or Pear Deck and do a draw it slide. It's, you know what? I want to do some whiteboard activities. And the idea here is it's very similar to if you gave every student in your classroom individual little tiny whiteboards and a dry erase marker and did whiteboard practice problems, and you have them hold it up. Same exact thing, but with digital. And there's a lot of cool things that we can do also. I can come in here. I can go to a new slide. I can push this out to you right now. And now you just have an empty whiteboard. So I basically cleared all of your screens. And now this is what I want you to do. I would like you to draw me a circle. Just draw me a circle. Don't use the shape tool. Just draw me a circle the best that you can. Perfect. Right, so I'm going to use Kathy. So I'm going to click Kathy. I can give reactions, thumbs up, a heart. In the pay version, you can actually enter a one-on-one with the students to walk them through the problem if they're having problems right there. But watch what I can do. I can copy this circle, and then I can push this circle out to all of you. So now I pushed Kathy's circle to everybody as your background. So now what I would like you to do is draw me some eyes. Draw me some eyes here. So there's the circle. Now draw me some eyes. And I know you're probably working on one screen and not seeing my shared screen, but I can see everybody's work coming in real time. I'm inspecting work while it's happening all the way through. And so I'm going to select brands right here because it looks like a South Park eyes. So I'm going to go ahead again. I'm going to copy that to my dashboard, and then I'm going to push this out to everybody. So notice we are using students to do a step-by-step process, utilizing students' work, and we're adding on to it. And I do it with drawing a face because it kind of gives you the idea. But imagine now you're doing this with math problems. Okay, step one, everybody show me step one of this problem, right? Don't finish the problem, just show me step one. And then you talk about it. Okay, Kathy had a great step one. You push Kathy's step one to everybody. Okay, let's move on to step two. And so you're using this collaborative process to complete a problem, but everybody's pitching in, right? It creates that student agency. It creates that, oh, I'm part of the process. I'm not just doing the work and showing my teacher. I'm doing the work and it gets pushed out to my fellow students. So that's the idea here. And again, zero setup, zero logging in, zero account creation, zero data being collected. Downsides to this, number one, you can't save any of this. Once you exit, it's gone. So if there's any student work that you wanted to save, you would have to click on it and then save it as an image. You'd have to download it, and your students would have to do the same thing before they left. They would have to download their work as an image so that they can then post it as a learning artifact, whether it's in their eBinder or your Google Classroom or whatever LMS that you're using. That's a downside to this, but there's so many upsides that I can look past all the downsides. And again, there is a pay version where it saves all the work, where you can save templates. You can do all these different things in the pay version, of course, because it's paid. But I'm showing all the free stuff because, budgets, right? So there you go. So this is whiteboard.fi. Again, a different way to visualize learning, to give students a choice in how they're showcasing their work. So I always love to show this one. So I'm going to go ahead and close the room. There we go. And that should have knocked everybody out as well. So they can't continue to be working while that is closed. So I wanted to show that. The next one I wanted to show right here is Padlet. And I know Padlet is an older tool. Padlet's a tool that's been used for a long time, but they have added quite a bit here that really plays into our theme of student choice and student voice. So I put the link here in the chat. It's also here in our slide deck. But if you would click on that, let me show you why I really, really, really love this tool. And I would love for you all to participate because I've done many different conference platforms. This platform is pretty robust and easy, but I don't get to see all of you. I don't get to see your awesome faces. I don't get to hear your awesome voices. And so Padlet allows me to do that. So this is what I would like you to do. The first thing I would like you to do is when you're on this Padlet, click the plus button. And under title, I would like you to put your name. And then under write something, I would like you to tell me who you are, where you work, where you work, and what is your position. And then when you're done, it should appear on my screen. So look, all right, Deanne, Mark, Cheryl, Steve, Melissa. And notice I see all of these answers coming in real time. This is part of something I call a stress test because hopefully typing a little bit of information onto a box at this juncture is very low stress level. Like, okay, he knows my name. He knows where I work. He knows what I do. That's cool. No problem, right? But that's a great choice to allow students to showcase their knowledge. If they're shy and they're very good with the written word, why not allow them to respond with text, right? Why not? Give them that choice, right? But we want to give them choices. So here's the next thing I would like you to do. I would like you to click on that same plus button, but instead of titling it or writing something, I want you to click on the 3 little dots and it brings up all these different images here. And what I want you to do is select the audio recorder. And I want you to record a quick message. The same thing, your name, where you work, and your position. And maybe your favorite ice cream flavor as well. So let me give you some time to do that. Hello, everybody. I'm Joe Marquez. I work for Q.org, a nonprofit organization, and I am Director of Academic Innovation for Q. And there you go. So once you have done your audio recording, under title, you're just going to put your name. Now, for some of us, that might be a stressor, right? That might be a roadblock. Like, if all you gave me was the choice to record my voice, I don't really know if I want to do that, right? And so if you gave them a choice, okay, type or use your voice, now that at least takes away some stress from some of your students, and it gives them the choice. How do you want to express yourself? Written word or audio, right? Again, this is why I love Padlet, because it has so many different choices that students can use to showcase their knowledge, right? And we're not going to do this next one just for the, well, actually, let's do this next one. What I want you to do now is you're going to click on, once you're done with that voice record, you're going to now do video recorder. Now listen, I know. Like, wait a minute, that wasn't in the description. I didn't get myself ready to be camera ready. Wait a minute, I'm not ready for this. I don't want to pressure you into doing it. I absolutely don't. But I want you to think about it for a second. Do some of our teachers pressure our students into doing that? Oh, come on, just record your face. Oh, come on, just record your video, right? And then don't give them any other medium to express themselves, right? Imagine how that stressor is. Okay, so if you don't want to record a video, I'm not going to hold it against you. But I do want you to put you in the same position that some of our kids are put in, right? Where they're not given a choice. Okay, so but I'm going to hit video recorder right here. It's going to get ready. Here we go. I'm going to hit record. Like, hello, everybody. So I am Joe Marquez, Director of Academic Innovation for CUE. I am so excited to be here with you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. All right, so I'm going to hit save. There we go. Some reason my screen stopped sharing. Let me share it again. There we go. And again, just title the video, your name. And there we go. And again, the whole purpose of this Padlet portion was to kind of bring everything together, right? We showcased how you can do visuals. We showcased how you can do drawings. We showcased how you can do audio. We showcased how you can do all these things. And when you bring it all together, some of you, most of you were all willing to share who you were via text. A lot of you were willing to do it via voice. And then I will tell you, a lot of you probably have a little bit of trepidation on doing it with video. Again, I want you to put yourselves in the same seat, the same mind of your students. If the only option they were given was to record a video, if they don't do it, are they being defiant or are they scared? Are they? Do they not feel part of the community? Have you not built up the capacity for video yet? Again, that's the whole thing that we need to talk about here is student voice and choice is great, right? All these tools are great, but have they built up to the capacity to do it in multiple modalities? We need students to have that choice. And again, that's why it's more than just buzzwords, because our students are amazing individuals. And we don't want to put a stress level on them that prevents them from sharing their knowledge. And that's key, right? So we just have to make sure we're there. So there we go. Yes, technically a video. Yes, right there. That works. And also, notice, right? I want to do fielder's choice right here, right? A baseball reference. Fielder's choice. So now click on the three dots and do anything else that you want to do. You can add a drawing. You can add a GIF. You can add just a picture of yourself with your camera. You can add your location. So participant's choice. Just do one more thing with Padlet because you have the choice. Isn't that amazing that you have the choice to showcase something in a modality that best fits you? And that's the whole purpose, right? So I'm going to wait a second and give you the opportunity to showcase your voice in the way that you want to choose. Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is one of the favorites in our household. My daughter loves the Scrappy-Doo, Scooby-Doo cartoons. And there's Katie. I got to get myself back up to Bremerton one of these days. All right, very good. I love the Bitmojis, right? Sometimes Bitmojis are the best way to show an image of ourselves, right? But I just wanted to I wanted to show that to you before we get to the elephant in the room. And yeah, it's Flipgrid. Okay, now listen. I love Flipgrid. I think it's a great tool. I think it is a great way to showcase student voice. I think it's a great way to showcase a lot of things in a great platform, a secure platform. You can have all the videos appear in one location. I love it. But Do you use it without building capacity? Again, do you just grab it and say, okay, we're going to do a Flipgrid? I mean, again, the shy students we have to really take heed with. Hopefully we built up a little bit of capacity here to where Flipgrid wouldn't be that big of a deal, right? We played around together. We became best friends in Padlet. I now know where all of you work. I'll be seeing you this summer on my Oregon and Washington road trip. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be cool though, right? But notice we built up time together and different activities together before I even asked you to record your voice or your video. Do our teachers build capacity before they get to Flipgrid, right? Do they do that? So now that we're friends, this is what I would like you to do. And I thought I had my Flipgrid. Here we go. So here's a Flipgrid that I made, and I'm gonna share the link with you. And you absolutely do not need to participate in this right now. But again, part of Flipgrid that's fun is being able to tweak it a little bit. And so what I've done is I created something called a Flipgrid grid mask. So do you remember that YouTube Google slide that I had? You can actually bring that in to Flipgrid. You could bring that TikTok in to Flipgrid. All these cool different things that you can do and bring them in to Flipgrid. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I want to do a Flipgrid, but I want it to be a TikTok-esque activity, I click TikTok, and then all I do is I click the download button right here. And you'll notice it downloads into the bottom left-hand corner of my Chrome browser. Now I go back into Flipgrid, and to do a video, I click on the big red button. Here we go. And all I do is this. Under Effects, I click Photo. I drag that image, that TikTok image, and look what I can do. I create a mask around it, and now I'm on TikTok right here, right? Imagine doing this in your class. Would this build a little bit of capacity with your kids? Like, oh, I can be on TikTok, right? Sometimes the shadow of responding to an education question on Flipgrid is what's creating the stress. When you remove the shadow or dissolve the shadow with a fun mask like this, students are more willing to try, right? Or more willing to do this, right? And the cool thing is students then learn how to make those masks. All I do is I make them in Google Draw. That's it. And I leave windows where there's no image. And when I download it as a PNG, it creates that mask, that image. So it's really fun. So when we leave each other here today, I would love for you to try it, right? I mean, you can do it today, you can do it later, but I would love for you to try it because on this Flipgrid activity, I have teachers from all over the world, students from all over the world who try this out and leave messages saying, thanks for showing us this, thanks for doing this. I would love for you to be added to the teachers of the world, IT directors of the world, administrators of the world who are trying these things out. Now, a few more things that I want to show you with this that your teachers may or may not know. Under Effects, there's filters here. So if students are shy about being on camera, there's different filters they can use to kind of obscure their face. So there's a pixel filter. So now they can be on camera, but not be on camera. So they can select their filter, right? They can do a Lego filter. So now they're on camera, but they're not truly on camera, right? And so there's ways to obscure students' faces along the way. So I wanted to show you that. Another cool thing that can be utilized is the whiteboard. So you have grids and you can make the screen side by side so you can see the student's face while they do their work, or you can make the screen the entirety of the thing so now you don't see the student's face. All the different ways. We want to remove the roadblocks to why are students not responding. Can we give them different choices on how they respond, or different choices on how they can cover up their face so they feel more comfortable responding? And so the whiteboard is a great way to do that as well. Another thing students get really caught up on is when they're recording, they forget what they want to say, or they get tongue-tied. That's why I always recommend using these sticky notes. These sticky notes are just notes that you can leave yourself while you're talking to like remember what to say, but they are not in the video. So they're almost like little cue cards. Cue, no pun intended, like little cue cards to remind yourself of what you want to say here. So that's a great way of thinking about it as well. So I always end with Flipgrid because a lot of people start with it, and I wanted us to become friends first before we really dive deep into this video recording platform. But again, I would love to have you record a response with the other 169 educators that have responded this year, and showcase some of the things that you've learned, and then play around with the grid masks. It's absolutely fun. And again, I was talking to you earlier about all the different templates. So you can get all of the grid snap templates by going to grid snaps and grid masks as well. If you want to know how I made them, you can watch these YouTube videos right down here under grid masks. It shows you step by step of how I made my grid masks. You can see what the thing I call, you know how we did the slide snaps? We can do a grid snap, the same idea, bringing images in, annotating everything right out of Flipgrid. So that's a great way of doing things. And then all the resources, all of the Google slide templates, the YouTube template, the slide snap template, all those templates are available here at bit.ly/g-slide-temp. And then all of my grid grid hacks, all the different Flipgrid hacks that I showed you, they're all available here at bit.ly/grid hacks. And again, if you are on the Twitters, please feel free to follow me at JoeMarquez70. That's usually the fastest way to get a response from me, is to direct message me and ask me a question. And then we also have a great podcast called the Sons of Technology podcast, where we go over all of these hacks and tips and tricks to help educators through any trials and tribulations they may have through their career. So feel free to do that as well. But again, I'm Joe Marquez. You can contact me at jmarquez@q.org. It's been a pleasure collaborating and learning with you today. And thank you so much for having me here and joining my session here at ACPE. And, fingers crossed, next year we can all see each other in Welch's and have a great grand old time up in the mountains. So thank you again. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat. I'd be glad to answer them for you. But again, since we're now best friends, please feel free to reach out. I'd love to collaborate with you more.